Okay, so uh, ever feel like you're just like drowning in code from like, let's be honest, who knows how long ago?
Yeah.
You're not alone. We're diving into a paper today all about whether AI can actually make that code better, not just churn out more of it.
Yeah, it's a question that keeps coming up, especially since most developers spend, I think the statistic is something like 70% of their time just trying to wrangle existing code.
Wow, 70%.
Yeah.
That really puts things in perspective. No wonder we're all chasing that like mythical clean code dream.
Exactly. And this research dives into a specific part of that, which is called refactoring. Think of it as like giving your code a serious makeover, same functionality, but under the hood, it's cleaner, it's leaner,
Yeah.
way easier to work with.
Right, because nobody wants to be that person who breaks the code base trying to make a small change.
Precisely. And this paper distinguishes between refactoring, which is the good kind, and then what they jokingly call refuctoring, which is when your well-intentioned changes end up introducing bugs. It's not the goal. So they really wanted to put AI to the test. Can it truly refactor, making code objectively better without the risk of, breaking things?
Okay, so how do you even measure if code got better? It's not like there's a universal scorecard for this, right?
Actually, there kind of is. They use a metric called code health. And so imagine it's like a report card for your code base. It looks for things like uh, overly complex functions, those massive blocks of code that nobody wants to touch.
Oh, yeah.
And then also deeply nested statements that make your head spin just trying to follow the logic.
Ugh, those nested nightmares. I can feel the headache coming back just thinking about it.
Exactly. And code health gives a score based on how prevalent those issues are. So the higher the score, the healthier and more maintainable the code. So the researchers pointed several popular AI models like GPT and a few others at real code with identified code health issues. We're talking over 100,000 individual problems that they fed to these AI models and said, okay, show us what you got, make this better.
So like a coding boot camp, but for AI, with a really messy code base as the final project. What happened? Did they ace it?
Well, about that, it turns out that these AI models on their own only managed to refactor the code correctly 37% of the time.
37%.
Yeah.
So more likely to introduce a bug than actually improve things. Oof, that's not exactly inspiring confidence in our AI overlord.
It's definitely a reality check. But here's the thing. It's not that AI is incapable of understanding code. It's how it learns that creates some interesting challenges.
Yeah.
So these AI models, they're trained on these massive, massive data sets of code, right? Kind of like feeding a supercomputer every coding tutorial, every open source project ever created. And they learn by recognizing patterns in all of that data.
So they're basically mimicking how we learn, just on a much, much larger scale, right? Find enough working code, you start to get the hang of it.
Right. But here's where it gets a little tricky. Code is incredibly precise, right?
All
One
right.
missing character, a misplaced bracket, even a typo in a variable name can throw the whole thing off.
Oh, tell me about it. I still have nightmares about that one time a missing semicolon took down our entire production site.
Exactly. And because AI doesn't think about code the same way that, we do as humans, it might not grasp the gravity of those small errors. Like it might remove what seems like a redundant line of code, not realizing it was handling a crucial edge case.
Right. Yeah.
Or it might swap out a comparison operator, changing a greater than to a less than, leading to some seriously unexpected results.
So even with the best intentions, the AI can end up introducing these really, really subtle bugs that are really hard to catch until it's way too late.
Precisely. And that's why that 37% success rate is so telling. It really highlights this fundamental difference in how AI sort of approaches code compared to, a human developer with years of experience. But here's the really, really exciting part. The researchers didn't just identify the problem. They actually found a way to drastically improve the AI's accuracy.
Okay, now you've got my attention.
Yeah.
What's the magic solution?
No,
Did they just yell at the AI until it started writing better code?
not quite. But what they did was they developed a system to essentially fact check the AI's refactoring suggestions.
Okay.
So think of it as like having a senior developer look over the AI's shoulder and say, nope, that won't work. Try this instead. And the results were impressive, to say the least.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Give me the numbers. How much better did this fact-checking make the AI?
With this system in place, the AI achieved a 98% accuracy rate in producing, correct refactorings.
98%.
A massive jump from that initial 37%.
That's getting into like human level performance there. maybe even exceeding it. How did they manage to pull that off?
It all comes down to, you guessed it, data.
Okay.
But not just any data. It was high-quality, curated examples of real-world refactoring.
So it's not about the quantity of data, it's about the quality. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. They used a massive data set of over 100,000 JavaScript refactoring examples, all reviewed and verified by, experienced developers. This became like the gold standard for training their fact-checking system.
So they basically created a whole library of before and after refactoring examples, all vetted and ready to be analyzed.
Exactly. And they even used a tool called CodeScene, which has this automated code review capability to help build this data set and ensure its quality. Instead of trying to teach the AI about every possible code scenario, they focus specifically on those common code smells, the ones identified by the code health metric we talked about earlier.
So give the AI a clear problem, a set of rules to follow, tons of good examples, and suddenly becomes a refactoring rock star.
Precisely. It's like giving the AI the cheat codes to clean code, but, in a good way. And that brings us to what this all means for us, the developers wrestling with real-world code every day.
Right, because 98% accuracy sounds great in a research paper, but does it actually translate into, making our lives easier? That's the real question.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that, AI-assisted coding, it's still in its early stages. This research is a huge step forward, but we're not at a point where we can just unleash AI on our code bases and, all clock out early.
So no robot overlords just yet. Darn. But seriously, what does this mean for, the average developer out there? Should we be brushing up our resumes, expecting to be replaced by code crunching bots?
Not quite, not quite. Think of it more like getting a seriously upgraded toolkit. We already rely on things like code completion, linters, to help us catch those errors and force those style guides. This is like taking that to the next level.
Okay, I like the sound of that. So instead of just catching typos, AI could actually help us identify and fix those deeper structural issues, right? The things that make a code base an absolute nightmare to maintain.
Exactly. Imagine being able to finally tackle that mountain of technical debt that's been accumulating, let's be honest, for who knows how long, right? This technology could make that significantly more manageable, and it could free up developers to actually focus on, building new features, innovating, rather than constantly just patching leaks.
Yeah, that's a future I can get behind. But here's the question that's been bugging me. If AI gets really good at refactoring, does that mean all those best practices we always hear about, testing, code reviews, clear documentation, does that all just go out the window? Can we just slack off and let the AI handle it?
That's a common misconception, I think. In reality, this kind of technology, it actually makes those practices even more important.
Oh, interesting.
Because remember, even at 98% accuracy, there's still that 2% chance of something going wrong.
Right.
Plus, we have to keep in mind, AI is only as good as the code that we feed it. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
So AI-assisted refactoring isn't an excuse to, abandon all good coding habits, but it's more like a way to amplify their impact.
Exactly.
We still need to write clean, well-tested code, but now we potentially have this really powerful tool to help make it even better.
Precisely, yeah. And it's a great reminder that as exciting as AI is, it's not here to replace us. It's here to augment our abilities and help us, ultimately build better software faster.
Which, let's be honest, is probably for the best. Keeps us on our toes, right?
Absolutely. This kind of research always gets me excited about, the future of coding. It's a good reminder that we're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and that's a good thing.
It definitely makes you think. Well, there you have it. AI flawlessly refactoring our code isn't quite a reality yet, but it feels a lot closer than it did before. If this research is anything to go by, the future of coding is going to be a wild ride. And I, for one, am buckled up and ready for it. Until next time, keep those curiosity gears turning.